It's the Jim and Terry Show, still looking at scary things in life, in the world, big and small. And we're going to start with big. North Korea. In Ukraine.
Jeepers, sending troops to help Russia.
To help Russia in Ukraine.
Have they crossed into?
Well, they're in occupied territory, so...
Well, then it's like the President Biden said, well, then you're open to be dead. Like they're not going to not shoot on them because they're North Koreans. They're helping Russia fight.
So isn't this a strange setup? If you could set up things to be a slippery slope into chaos and oblivion and total destruction and annihilation, is this not one of those banana peels on the way down?
Yes. Let me clarify. I was thinking of that when I was driving in. I'm a pretty negative human being.
You can be.
My glass is half full.
Definitely.
But I do have hope. Just not in mankind.
No, your hope is in something as spiritual and ethereal. You can't touch it, taste it, see it.
Yes.
You hope for it in the days to come.
Yes, that's what I hope in. So I have hope, and I'm happy in that world. But I do think we're on a super downslope. You think of what's happening over there. Russia's just praying and hoping Trump wins, because Trump will probably
pull out.
Well, one of his revenge is getting
He wants to get Zelensky. Yep.
Zelensky, because Zelensky did not go for his crooked deal.
Yep.
So he's got to be put out. Same as he puts out his own people constantly, ruins their lives. He does it with his generals. He does it with his ambassadors. He's just not nice. And he will go after Lewinsky and want that. He don't care if the country falls. He'll get his revenge. So he's got that. If he doesn't win, you've got chaos in the streets. I honestly believe that. I know there's all other commentaries go, no. If Kamala beats him handily beats him, then there's probably not going to be trouble. If it's tied, they've already talked about all the elections they're already rigged. Funny enough, they're only rigged if he loses. They're not rigged if he wins. They're only rigged. Like the first one in 2016, that wasn't rigged, was it?
No.
Because he won. So, so there you go. So if it's a tight race, he is going to incite rioting in the streets. Because if he's going down, everyone's going down.
So this is the scary theme for this podcast.
It's the scary theme of it.
Okay,
That's
just
what
to
I
go back
believe.
to 2016, he did institute an investigation into illegal immigrants voting, and the committee to investigate that, which was his main crime. He said thousands and thousands of illegals are voting. There was no evidence ever found. They shut down the commission. That was his initiation, his commission, within 6 months, I believe. It might have been as far as a year, but they came up with zero evidence for the claim. And this is the problem. He makes the claims with no evidence.
Do you realize they've already got lawsuits out?
Yeah.
They've already done it.
To challenge
the election has not happened.
And they've already filed, because they filed so late in the 2020.
Yeah.
The 16th.
They're already filing. Listen, supporters of that nut. Listen, you're following evil down the tube.
I'm not sure there would be any Trump supporters listening to our podcast.
I have no idea.
But you never know. Okay, so to be precise in what we're saying, we are saying that democracy is on the ballot. It is the country, in this case America. It will be the country in terms of Canada in 2025, if that's when the election, if the Bloc Québécois does not challenge an election or make a call in 2024. But the idea is that people who are making things happen, Kamala Harris / Biden, making things happen, making the infrastructure bill, making the rebuilding the bridge. Remember the one that got destroyed by the ship that got out of control?
Oh, yeah.
Within months, that bridge was taken down and a new one built. Trump would have sat on it and said, wait a minute, are you Democrat or Republican? I'm not giving you any help.
I hate that, but yeah. And I don't know if he wouldn't have built it, but you're right. He would have said, you either owe me or you're just going to suffer because you didn't vote for me. And we've seen evidence of that. We've seen that actually happen. You do it my way or you're going to suffer. We see it in people. We see how many have been destroyed within his world. It's just a fact of life. Yeah. What's that one? Everything Trump touches dies. It's true. My opinion.
Yeah.
And I have my problems with the Democrats, but that's a different story. None of them isn't fixable. You know what I mean? Like you just 4 more years,
You have
elect them
policy
out and
differences,
change
whereas
policy.
one-
But I'm really concerned that if Trump gets in, there is no another election without a war. Without a war,
So
does
character matter, and is this an election on character?
I think character. To me, it matters. I mean, it matters a lot. But I'm already been so tarnished, Terry. I've told you, anybody that's looking,
tarnished.
anybody that's seeking power, I have a sort of a distrust for their motives.
Right. Okay.
I don't believe they believe everything they say. They're going to believe whatever they're going to produce.
So you
They're
don't
gonna-
believe people who serve, who are willing to run for an elected office, municipal, provincial, or state or federal level? You think they're compromised already from the desire to serve?
I wouldn't go down the tracks that far, but once you start getting into federal, like federal and provincial, I think you're already seared in certain areas. You're going to be loyal to the people that are financially supporting you,
Right.
whether they're right or wrong. Whether they're, it was funny. RFK Jr. whatever. Did you see that?
No.
Well, he was being interviewed about knowing Jeffries and that. He goes, "Oh, come on, Bill Cosby was in my house," and he went through all these pedophiles and all these people
In his circle?
in his circle. I mean, I'm sorry, man. I mean, that's not a good testimony.
No.
I mean, these are the people that you've got coming to your house, and all of the ones you mentioned were crooks or pedophiles or something. It just doesn't make good anything. I mean, was anybody good ever come to your house? Or was it just all these people? So I think the same way when you're starting to get up into politics, I think there's a lot of areas where you're going to be compromised. You've made promises, yeah, and you're going to have to keep them or break them. Our only hope with Trump is he lied about everything, and he's not going to do what he's going to do, because from day one there's going to be the greatest deportation in the history. So what are we talking?
Have you heard his?
Are we talking 1 million?
Yeah. Have you heard his numbers? They started with
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I did. I heard they keep going up and up and up, and now they're.
it's like 50
I know.
million or 100 million or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
right
I know.
now.
But even if it's 1 million, how do you do that?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of crushed hearts, a lot of ruined lives. How do you do that? And unfortunately, we've seen someone else who wanted to do that. We know his name is Hitler, and there was that final solution: kill them all. And that's just horrible.
I told you the first book I bought out of the 2016 election results was the one by Madeleine Albright, former Secretary of State in the U.S. government, and the book was called Fascism.
Yeah.
She nailed it way back in
Yeah,
2016. The book came out in 2016. It was written, I think, in 2015. But that's been the framework of my understanding of how the Trump admin would unfold. And that book I would still recommend. It's very poignant, very salient, relevant to today's election, which is only a few days away. Make your prediction.
Well, the funny, I have no prediction, to tell you the truth. It's up and down,
it's
up and down, up and down, up and down, and I don't know if you can convince anybody. I was listening to Trump's speech the other day, and he was putting down all the generals that have come forward and said this guy is not fit for office.
There's 40 some
And then he
odd.
pointed off to a general. Who knows if there was a general in the crowd at all? I don't know, because the camera never
Could have
went.
been Michael Flynn.
Probably was. Says there's a general for you. That's the general. And remember, he's also the one who said, "I want my generals to be like Hitler's generals." So he's paving the way to get our mindset controlled that he is the solution. He's already said it. If you just one more election, you vote me, you'll never have to vote again. As if that's the greatest burden on earth, when it's actually a privilege.
It's a freedom.
Yeah, freedom and privilege. But he's saying you're never going to have to vote. Just vote for me. And he's saying these things out of his own mouth.
Yeah.
I see him. I watch him. I hear him. And he doesn't apologize. When he's on interviews and they say, you said this, he never says, sorry, that was misunderstood. He doesn't say, his cronies will say, oh, no, you're taking him literally. He doesn't speak literally. Please, could I have a guy speak literally, please?
It's funny. They always come after Kamala Harris on her details of what she says, but they excuse away everything that Trump
Everything he says. Everything he says.
I still check in with Fox every once in a while to realize how bad that is. It's not a network of news. It's a bunch of infomercials, one after the other. And they get paid. Murdoch pays them to do this, to stir the pot. So in terms of people who are patriotic or unpatriotic, Murdoch is not an American, but he owns the biggest conglomerate of news outlets in America, the biggest influence peddler. Elon Musk is not, well, he is now maybe an American citizen, but he also is an influence peddler on the platform Twitter, or it used to be known as Twitter, now X. And the amount of influence that these two alone for the right.
And now Bezos.
Now, what is Bezos doing?
Bezos owns, like New York Times or something. They always predict. They always
Washington
endorse.
Post.
Yeah.
And he's the Amazon guy.
They say not endorsing anybody is just
Well, it's
playing into
half
Trump's
a
hands.
century, 43 years, I think. Of
no, I don't
editorial.
believe they should endorse, but nevertheless, they've been doing it.
This is, I tend to agree with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
but our foundation of our beliefs about that would be the assumption that news should be news and should not have a bias. If you want a bias, stick it in an opinion or an editorial piece within the paper, but the paper should be about news and information.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. So not to publish is not to publish an opinion or take a side, I would have said is a good thing. But if everybody's doing it, then why would you suddenly stop?
Well, you
doing
stop.
it?
The
That's saying volumes
the
too.
assumption is that you're supporting Trump. Now, all he has to do is say, "I am not supporting anybody," but I don't know if he has said that. I think his editor did, but I don't think Bezos did.
His editor quit.
Well, let's see the outcome. There's nothing to lose for them. I'll tell you why. Because if the Democrats win, they can continue on. They may be taxed more, but they continue. They got billions, so they can continue on. If Trump wins and he don't like them,
They're
he
gone.
can make your life hell.
And New York Times and LA
That's
Times
right.
and all the other
That's right.
papers who disagree with Trump.
So he's a bully. He's a mobster. That's how I view the man. And
Okay.
he can look nice as nice in an interview.
Time
but
is
he's a
running out.
monster.
Make a prediction.
I don't know.
don't- come on.
Well, what are
That's-
you going to
that's
say?
scary. I'm
You're
gonna say-
Kamala.
Gonna say Kamala and I'm gonna say Blue Wave, and we'll see.
Oh,
if-
you think a massive win?
I'm hoping Senate, Congress, and the presidency. But
I got a question for you next show.
okay. Jim and Terry Show. Scary thoughts on politics. Bye-bye.